everyone, and welcome to WorldLotteryPlayers.com. Today I want to talk to you about another lottery strategy. This one is called the popular numbers lottery strategy. And what this strategy basically is you're going to try to choose lottery numbers that seem to come out in the draws more often. So for example, if let's say the number 10 happens to be drawn statistically or percentage more often than other numbers, then you may choose to include 10 in your numbers picked every time you buy a lottery ticket for that game. So for example, if it's the Powerball, you would want to look at the past drawing history of Powerball to see what numbers come up most often, what numbers come up least often, so you can try to target choosing the numbers that come up most often, and you can avoid the numbers that come up least often, or don't choose them. So there's a few ways you can do this. So for example, here is an article about it that I'm referencing from our website. And let's say, for example, that you look at the statistics back to 2015 for the Powerball, and you see that 35 and 26, for example, come up very often for the Powerball, more often than other numbers. So when you're picking your 5 numbers for the pick 5 part of Powerball, then you may want to include 35 and 26 every time. And this is the reason that this strategy is possibly useful is because there may be something about the system that Powerball is using that is causing these numbers to come up more often than others. Obviously, they try to make the numbers be drawn as randomly as possible, but sometimes there may be something wrong with what they're doing in terms of there's a slight edge or a slight advantage for certain numbers, and we can't know that for sure, but we can try to see if that is true, or try to predict that by looking at the past drawings to see how often each number was picked. And you can do that right from here. I have at the Powerball draw history. I'm using it at beatlottery.net, and they show you can look back, you can see all the drawings. This is showing what numbers were drawn in the Powerball results and what jackpot it was and how many people won that jackpot. Most of them are 0. And so we can go back as far as we want. Right now it's going back until January, and we can even go back to many different years. Here it goes all the way back to 1997. Although there are some changes to the Powerball game system since 1997, so that means the statistics or the numbers drawn might not be useful all the way back to then, but we can figure that out if we research. I will release a later video about that, researching what kind of changes have been done to the Powerball, Mega Millions, Euro Millions, other kind of games, to see how that affects our strategies, because that's important information. So let's take a look at an example. Let's see if I can see any number that appears frequently. See 68 here, 68 again here, 68 again here. That's 4 times already in the past few months. Okay, that's quite a lot. Here's 68 again, 5 times. Okay, 68 again, that's 6 times. 68 again, that's 7 times. Okay, so that means since January of 2020, this is just a quick look. This is not even deep research, but I found 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 times that the number 68. Actually, it's 7 times. 7 times that the number 68 was drawn since January of 2020. The last time was June 17th, almost a month ago. So that doesn't mean that 68 is going to come up definitely, but it might be an interesting choice to look at that and say, okay, for some reason 68 seems to come up pretty often, and if we wanted to check, actually here's another 68, so that's 8 times. If we wanted to make sure, then we would compare that 8 times in the past 6 months about to the instance, or how many times other numbers came up. Is that the most frequent number? Is it just average, or what? And then we can choose what we're going to do. So for example, if we look at that, if I was going to play online, for example, and I'm going to go to Powerball over here, I can use this strategy just like this. It's pretty simple. So after I've decided which numbers I think seem to be more popular or are drawn more often, then I just pick them. So let's pretend 9, 13, 21, 34, and then of course, based on what I just saw, although we do need to search more, I'm going to put 68. And then I might look at try to see which is the most common red ball number for the Powerball itself. And let's say it was 11, but we still have to check the drawing history on that. And then I could do that for maybe another ticket. So obviously I don't want to choose the same numbers on the next ticket, but let's say I see other numbers that also are chosen more frequently than average, more often than average, and I would put those. Let's say it's this, and you can still pick the same numbers in some cases, because this number combined with this number may be different from this number combined with this number being drawn. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to pick the same numbers, some of the same numbers on different tickets, as long as the other numbers are different. I mean, obviously I'm not going to pick 9, 13, 21, 34, 68 again on the same ticket in the same drawing. That wouldn't make sense, because that would be the same, basically the same ticket. And if I say 15 was also often. And then I'll pick 11, 21, 25, 45, and 68 here. So see, 68 for all of them, since if 68 was the most commonly picked number, but with different combinations of numbers together with that. And then I have a 6 Powerball. So that is the popular numbers strategy. You can check our article over at WorldLotteryPlayers.com for more detailed information about that and how to use it. And if you want to get the lottery history for any kind of game that you want, I found it easily with a quick Google search. I just looked up Powerball draw history, and you can do it for whatever game you want to try to use the strategy on, so you can see for yourself what numbers were drawn and how often, and then you can try to build a list of numbers that you think you should try to pick on different tickets. Okay, thank you very much, and I will put a link to some additional articles and a way to play Powerball or Mega Millions and other games online in the description. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.